Hi students, in today's MIS class, we are going to discuss about system designs. Experience has shown the modern computer-based information system that can support the central and decentralization of information system. This information systems can operate their operations and decisions by making within computers using systems. This systems will have a design that can formulate itself to make the functions of all the business activities, and that concept we are going to discuss in this system design. Under system design, number first one is logical design. Logical design pertains to an abstract representation of data flow, inputs and outputs of the system. It describes the input, that is sources, outputs, that is destination, and the database that the data stores, procedures, the data flow, everything in a format that meets the user requirement. While preparing the logical design of a system, the system analyst specifies the user needs at level of detail that virtually determines the information flow into and out of the system and the required data sources. Data flow diagram, ER diagram are the models that are used in the logical design. So the logical design means it is an abstract representation of the data flow which consists of input, processing, output, in what are all the ways the data can be sourced, and in what are all the divisions the data can be distributed through outputs, how the data are stored under the databases, in what way they communicate with each other. These are all the things that are logically designed and that is implemented in the MIS system. The system will contain of many designs. This logical design is the thing which makes the data flow between all the component, and it will illustrate how the data will make a flow into a system, and that concept is known as logical design. And now the second one is physical design. Physical design relates to the actual input and output process of the system. It focuses on how data is entered into a system, verified, processed, and displayed as output. It produces the working system by defining the design specification that specifies exactly what the candidate system does. It is concerned with the user interface design, process design, and the data design. These physical designs consist of the following steps. It specifies the input-output media, designing the database, and specifying the backup procedures. Planning system implementation, devising a test and implementation plan, and specifying any new hardware and software, updating cost, benefit, conversation date, and system constraints. All these data are being planned and designed under the head called physical design. Physical design is nothing but the hardware system that supports the system to perform its task, and that is being processed together to make the desired output. If the data is entered into a system, what data is entered, how it is processed, in what way it can be taken as output, All these design things are placed under this physical design. The next one is architectural design. It is also known as a high level design that focus on design of system architecture. It describes the structure and behavior of the system. It defines the structure and relationship between various models of the system development process. As the system development process, this architectural design is purely dependent on the system development process. This system development process is being under several stages. So the first stage, it begins with the company purchase of a computer system, and a company may how start a new division or purchase of a computer to make all the information into computerized information system. All these things are there in the stage 1. In the stage 2, how the technical aspects are related with the computer system, in what way these components are connected together, and how that will be processed, that are categorized under stage 2. In the stage 3, the management will focus on the functioning of the activities through the systematic manner. The management will monitor all the activities and functions of the management with a designed manner, and that concept is known as architectural design. In the fourth one, an online platform will be implemented for retooling and redesigning of application, because this architectural design will be first planned for a minimum pilot design. Pilot design is nothing but you will make a sample of a design and you will implement for 10 to 20 people. If it is working properly, then you will design the same process for a more number of people, like 100, 200 employees. And that everything will be stored under stage 4. And the fifth one, the MIS blueprint with the information technology architecture is being developed under the stage 5. It is nothing but a design that states how the data is being entered, in what are all the way it is getting processed, in what are all the components that are in there in the system, everything being given in a blueprint, and finally how the data is taken to the user. That data flow with the model is demonstrated in stage 5. Finally, stage 6, with this design, if you are giving a data that is processed by the system, and finally you are taking the output as information, how that information is supporting the managerial function, and how uh, it is related with the management for decision making process, are the things that are coming under the concept of stage 6 in architectural design. This architectural design is a design view with the data and information concept. And the next one is system construction. In the system construction, it consists of all the activities required to build and validate the new system, point at which it can be turned over a system acceptance. Development effort in this phase are based on the technical solution created during system design, which in turn was based on the functional and operational requirement captured during system requirement analysis. That is included in the phase the construction of all the components of the system, including utilities required to adequately prepare and load the data. In addition, system construction consists of a series of tests of system component, which each set of tests being performed against a progressively larger group of components until the operations of the system in its entirely has been verified. Since the ultimate goal of a system construction is to produce a system that is ready for acceptance, testing by the customers, an aspect of this phase is the creation of the various training materials and system documentation that supports the new system. These material needs to address both the use and maintenance of the system and will play an integral part in the system acceptance and system implementation phases of life cycle. As said, the system construction, we have to construct a system which consists of all the required components that validate a system by making its acceptance with the interdependence of each component. So, this development efforts in this phase are being technically created to give a solution for a problem. It is purely based on the operational and functional requirements where the system requirement is there. In this phase, the construction of all the components of the system, including all the utilities, are consisting of the data and information. These system constructions will go with series of tests, which each set of tests being performed progressively with large number of components. Each test will be performed in a small aspect, and finally you can go with the large grouping of components. A small test will be undertaken from each component, and finally a large test will be taken for a big component, that is a grouping of component. The ultimate goal of this system construction is to produce the acceptance test by the customers. So this system material, system documentation, all these things will be helpful for the system acceptance and system implementation of the system lifecycle. This phases consist of following process, that is the system construction will consist of the following points. Prepare for system construction, where the system development and testing environment are established and where the project team is instructed in the process and tools that will be used throughout this phase. While preparing a system construction, the development and testing environment is purely established with the project team to process along with the tools of the phase. The second one is refined system standards, where standards established in the system design are enhanced and adjusted as the team becomes more familiar with the project environment or in response to changes in the strategic or technical direction of the project. So, in this thing, the system standards are refined according to the requirement of the environment. All the requirement of the things, requirement of the conditions, you can go with the concept of changing of the system standards, because the each system will have its own concept. So all the systems cannot be implemented. A common system cannot be implemented for all types of system. And in the next one, we have build, test, and validate, where individual system components and utilities are constructed and tested to ensure that they perform to the technical and functional specification. Each and every component is built and they are tested and they are validated to make the system to work along with the design. So if the system and the design are interrelated each other, then the business will go in a smooth manner. And the next one is conducting integration and system testing, where logically related components of the systems are assembled and tested as single units, and a complete end-to-end system test is performed. Here, the system is being tested and all the components are integrated to make the system in a complete end-to-end system performance. If one component is not working properly, automatically it cannot be connected with the other component because it will give you the false result. So everything has to be integrated and that can be used for the system. And the next one is produce user and training training material, where all the customers related documentation and training materials are developed. Here in this thing we have the produce user and training material, where all customer related details are being built and trained with the phases of system construction. And the last point, produce technical documentation, where all materials intended for the team of individuals ultimately responsible for the ongoing maintenance and support of the systems are created. Here, the system construction produce technical documentation. If you are working on one document, that can be ultimately responded with the system, and that system will generate all the requirements of the user. Here, all the user's requirements are satisfied and that is processed along with the customer related documentation. The entire system is constructed to end-to-end system performance to perform the technical and functional specification with the thing that they have to respond to the changes in strategic or technical directions of the project, which the project team will be instructed with all this information to make the process and to develop and to evaluate a particular tool that will support all these phases in system construction. Purpose of preparing the system construction is to get the technical environment and the project team members ready for successful completion of the full set of system construction activities. Much of the preparation of system construction is completely analog to the required information for system design, since these phases have many of the same characteristics, potentially expanding the team size, introduction of new tools, and the establishment and communication of new process that must be followed. As with prior phase, it may be necessary to revisit project orientation materials to confirm that pertinent information resulting from the completion of system design is adequately communicated to individuals joining the team, that is the project team. Additionally, since new development tools and process may be used in this phase, the training needs of both existing and new team members will be needed to be accessed. The start of new construction marks a point in the project where the overall technical environment becomes more complex and more critical than in the prior phases. Due to the scope of activities required to construct and test an application that have been accessed to the applicable tool in the automated software development, and the configuration, that is the system configuration with the testing tool and defecting the tracking tools, can be extremely valuable to support this effort. Here, all the system construction is made to make the environment technical and the project members to perform with the system construction activities. All these are designed and evaluated under the head called Management Information System. This system design and construction will make the MIS with the good quality, and this MIS system supports the managers for managerial decisions and functions to develop the growth of the business organization. I think you students have understood about the concept of system design in today's class. We'll meet by tomorrow with the next class with the new concept. Thank you all. You can leave. Thank you.